Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, starting our today's lesson number three, inshallah, with this dua, first of all, that Rabbi shrah li sadri, our Lord, open our chest, right? Expand our chest. وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي, make our task easy for us. وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي, and untie the knot from our tongue. يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي, so they may understand our speech. Inshallah, this is the dua of Prophet Moses alayhi salam. And the second dua about, getting knowledge is that رَبَّنَا زِدْنَا عِلْمًا, our Lord increases all in knowledge. This is the dua of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Starting our third session with all of these, with this thing in my mind that inshallah you will be practicing the previous letter that we have covered so far. Because in the previous two sessions we covered, five letter in the first session and then five in the next session. So total they are 10. So for today, inshallah, we will cover more than five letters today. Why? Because they are very easy, inshallah. We will cover eight letters, and inshallah, you will find them very easy as well. Before moving onwards, I would just like to, have a little revision from the previous session. In the previous two sessions, let me just quickly recite the letters that we have covered so far, like this. Okay. In the very first session, we did these five letters, which is Alif, and then second one being Hamza. The first one was Alif, the second one was Hamza, and yes, we did the differences of these two letters as well. The third letter was Ba letter, right? I'm talking about the names right now. Ba. The fourth letter that we did was Ta. Ta. Okay. The fifth letter that we did was Tha. Tha. The fifth letter, I told you that this is kind of S letter without the whistle sound. Tha. Okay, and then the letters that we covered in the previous session are these. Let me just move on to them. Okay, these are okay. Then we covered this letter, which is ha letter. Ha letter. And before this session, I told you that there are, six letters of throat, right? The Arabic alphabets, they have, categorization based on articulation and sometimes on their qualities as well. So based on the articulation point, we have six letters of throat as well. So the five that you see in front of you are, letters of throat, and the one is Hamza. So they make up like six letters altogether, right? So Hamza is a letter of throat, and then this Ha letter is a letter of throat as well. Both of these, they come from the lower portion of our throat. Then we have these two alphabets which come from the middle portion of our throat. The first one here is Ain, Ah, right? Ain letter, which makes like sound of Ah, I, Ru. And the next one here is Ha letter, Ha, which makes the sound Ha, He, Hu. Okay, so these two next letters, they come from the upper portion of our throat that is near to our mouth. So this letter here is Ghain, Ghain, which makes this gargling sound. Gha, Gha. The next letter, which was 10th letter, this is Kha letter. Kha. I just looked up to the recording, and why I looked up to it, because I am aware of the of this fact that Zoom sometimes does not record the voices properly, unfortunately. So when I was mentioning the voice of the Kha letter, I wanted to check out that is my scratch or aberration prominent there or not. And in recording, the scratch or the aberration of this letter ha, which is the quality of this letter, it was not prominent. So I'm not sure, if you can hear that ha, because it was altogether missing from the start, where I make the kh sound with scratch. That was missing there, right? It was simply ha sound, very soft sound that was there in the recording. So I'm mentioning again that even though you might not be able to hear me properly, but you can check out into some other video from the internet for surety as well. I will send you a link, okay? And I am also telling you that I'm making this scratch here at the start when I'm saying ho, the ho sound. Okay, so that is there in this alphabet. Okay, so now we will inshallah move to our letters for today. Okay, which are 8 in number, and let's see what are those inshallah. Okay, so I have already, marked these letters with the, like, encircled these alphabets which we will cover inshallah today. So the first one here is letter Jeem. Jeem. The J sound it makes. Jeem. The second letter that we will cover today will be Dal. Dal. This one here. Dal. Next letter will be Dal. Dal. This was Dal. Dal. This is the. Dal. Okay. The next one will be Ra. 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 Okay, so the fifth letter of today will be the. The. Just like I told you that in the ha letter there is this scratch at the start. So in the letter, the, we have this, buzzing sound, this vibration, you can hear. Okay, I hope you are able to hear this. The next letter will be seen. Seen. This seen letter, it has a whistle in it, okay? Air is removed from our mouth and there is this whistle sound as well. Sa, seen, right? I hope you can hear what I'm making at the start. The s, seen. The next one is sheen, sh, sh. For this letter, the voice spreads in our mouth. Sure. For example, when we say someone to, stop speaking, we just put our finger on our lips and we make this sound sh, sh, right? Sh. No, like when we say like don't speak, silence please, right? Sh. So this has this voice at the start, and the letter name is sheen, sheen. Okay, and the last letter for today will be ya letter. Okay, ya letter. We will cover this letter, and I told you that this letter is written in two ways, right? Both of these shapes that you see, they are the same letter. Yeah. So we will, this will be last alphabet for today, inshallah. Okay, so let's write the alphabets for today, inshallah. How they're written, you can, follow up the arrows, okay? The arrows are marked for your convenience so that you know from where to start writing any alphabet, right? So for Jeem, we will start like this, right? Like this, Jeem. We have already covered two letters who look, who look alike to this, right? Who have a kind of similar shape to this, which was the Ha letter from the middle portion of our throat, and we also did the ho letter, which was, having a scratch, right? So this letter is different, right? Because it has a dot in the middle. So again, you will have to remember the differences of dots and, no dot on top of it, or right? You have to remember from the very start. So this alphabet, it has a dot in the middle. This is Jeem letter. The next letter will be Dal letter, right? This round kind of shape, the Dal letter. The next one again has a similar shape but with a dot on top of it. The next we have Ra letter. This was Dal. This is Dal. And then this will be Ra. Ra. Ra is kind of straight, right? The previous ones they were like curved shaped, and this is straight. And the next letter will be the letter. Sorry, sisters. Okay, so we have Zal letter here, which has a dot, like which looks like a raw, but it has a dot on its head, again like this. Okay, Z with this buzzing sound. The next letter for today will be Seen letter. Seen. Then we have Sheen, which has three dots on top of it. Sheen. And then we have Ya letter, which is sometimes written like this, okay? Sometimes, you will see that in Qaidas it is written with two dots below it, okay? And then we have this shape as well, like this. Okay, so this is Ya as well. So all of these are same thing. We call them Ya. Yeah, okay. Now moving onward, sisters, we will cover, as you know, we'll cover 8 letters today. So let's see, is there any letter from these we're already familiar with or not? Because I always compare the letters of Arabic with English, right? So that you get a clear understanding of how you are supposed to tackle their sounds. Okay. So the first letter for today is Jim letter. Jim letter, which has a dot in the middle. So yes, you are already familiar with the sound of it. The sound the letter Jim makes is, we'll have to put any haraka for that, right? Like this, to make a sound of it, right? Otherwise, the name is Jim. But when we talk about the sound, so there will be haraka, right? There can be fatha, there can be kasra, there can be dhamma symbol. And that is how we will be able to articulate these letters, right, in a word. Okay, so the Jim letter here has a fatha, so it makes a j sound. J, right? J. So you're already familiar with this. Why? Because in English we have this J letter, right? J letter. So this is already, this will be inshallah easy for you. The next 2 letters, you will not find them in English. Okay, you might find something related to dal letter in English. We will inshallah discuss this, but otherwise, the alternative letter in English is not there, right? So for dal and dal, you will not find any alternative in English. Okay, so we will inshallah see their sounds in the coming slides. The next 2 letter will be ra and za. Ra and za. You are already familiar with the sounds. Why? Because a raw letter is, just like the R of English. R letter of English, right? Let's put a fatha on raw. Raw, ri, ru, right? So you're already familiar with the sound as well. Then we have the, which is like Z of English. Z, okay? So in this slide, we have like 5 letters, and you will only have to focus on these 2 letters more because you are not familiar with these, right? Inshallah. Other 3 you are already familiar somewhat. Okay, so let's move on to the last 3 for today, which will be seen letter. Seen letter. So the same letter, you are already familiar with the sound because its sound is like S of English. Okay, S of English. The next one will be sheen letter, which has again a sound like SH in English, right? SH sound. Okay, so let me write something here as well. This dal letter, actually, I told you that we don't have any alternative for these two, right? But this dal letter has a sound which is like the th of English, rather. Okay, let me just write it here. Th. Okay. So we are here discussing sheen letter now, which has a sound like sh in English. Okay, and the last one for today will be ya, which has a sound like y of English. Okay, ya, which has a sound like Y in English. So for today, sisters, it is inshallah going to be an easy lesson with regards to the sound because you're familiar with these sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Approximately 7 sounds. You're already familiar with these. This one will be new, inshallah. And what you will inshallah have to do after this session is that you only have to kind of remember the sound with the shape of the letter now, right? Because that is something tricky for you. You are not familiar with the names and shapes of alphabets, but you are familiar with the sounds for now. Okay, so you will have to just remember the sound with the shape of the alphabet now, inshallah. So let's move on to the explanation with the examples. First of all, the first letter is Jim, sisters. I told you that you're already familiar with the sound of it. So the example that I will just give is the jam word example. Jam, right? Or juice or jungle, right? Jam, juice, or jungle, right? What I would just suggest for you with regards to Arabic is that you will say the j sound a bit more with strength. Okay, you should not say like in a soft manner. You should not be saying j j j because it will have a kind of a ch sound, ch sound, right? It should not be there. The sound is very clear. It is with strength we make j, right? So let's take example of Arabic word as well, which is here, jama'a. Jama'a. In this word at the start we have jim here. Okay, this is jim here. Okay, we will inshallah discuss why the dot is here and why do we like how do we join these words together. We will inshallah cover this, but in this word we have just taken this part of the jim. Let me just write this part. Now it's like this, right? It's like this, and we have attached another symbol, and then we have attached another letter. So these are three letters, and at the start we have a jim, which makes jama'a. Jama'a. Okay, so this is the first word, sorry, first word, yes, first letter for today, d, jim letter. Okay, the second letter for today is dal letter. I said that there are exactly not any alternative, but obviously in the transliteration I have written this d here at the start, but it is not the d sound. Okay, it is not the sound. It is the sound. And in English when we say father, the father, or this, or when we say the, right? So this sound is actually of dal letter. Okay, so father, this, and the. Okay, so let's take an example of Arabic word, which is duni. Okay, so this alphabet here has a dhamma on top of it, which makes do sound here. Do, duni, right? So duni and the sound, the sound, do sound based on the haraka on top of it. So this is the sound this alphabets make. Okay, so let's move on to the third letter for today, which is dal. Dal. So again, here I have mentioned DH, right? DH. But again, this is not the correct way to write it, but obviously, for it is mentioned for people to understand a little about this letter. Okay, this is exactly not the way we are supposed to write it. The sound, how do we make this sound? Is that we take the tip of our tongue, sisters. We take the tip of our tongue. Okay, we take the tip of our tongue and we touch that to the edges of our upper front two teeth. Okay, tip of the tongue, we take that, we touch that to the edges of our upper front two teeth, and we make a soft sound of the. Okay, this is not like the Z sound of English. Okay, this is not the Z. We make the light sound, soft sound, dal. Okay, I cannot obviously give you example from English because there isn't any alternative. So let's take an example from Arabic. This word here is dhahaba. Dhahaba. Actually, interestingly, we have done, all of these letters. We have covered the ha letter, right? We have covered the ha letter, and then we have covered the ba letter as well. And at the start, we have the letter. Dhahaba. Okay, dhahaba. Okay, let's move on to the fourth letter for today, which is raw letter. Raw. And yes, this is exactly the way we are supposed to write the sound of it. Raw. This is actually an English word, right? Raw. So the sound of this letter is exactly the same. Raw. Raw. We cannot make an empty mouth sound like ra, ra. This is not the name, okay? This is not an empty mouth sound. This is not a light sound, but rather this is a heavy sound of raw. That's why I have written AW at the end in the transliteration, right? This is RAW kind of sound, raw. Okay, what in Arabic happens is that just like I discussed the kha, the scratch in kha, that was the quality of that letter. So raw has this quality of this rolling voice at the start. Raw, the tongue kind of rolls a little. We are not supposed to overdo that, okay? But still it is there at the start. Right, you're not supposed to just completely ignore this rolling. Rather, there is supposed to be little rolling, and then we are making this heavy sound of raw. Okay, so from the English, I've written this example of Robert, right? But in English, that is, not we do not make this rolling sound it's not there all the time, right? People say it naturally like Robert as well. But I will just say that in Arabic, we are supposed to make this a bit more intentionally. For example, in Arabic, we have this rohima, rohima, okay, rohima. And we have covered this ha letter as well, right? Ha, which has this airy sound, the hollow airy sound. We push the air and we say he, rohima, rohima. Okay, so the first letter for today was G, which makes the D sound, G sound, and Ju sound based on the haraka. G letter. Sorry, sisters. The next letter is Dal letter, which makes the okay, Jazakallah, sister, which makes the do sound, right? The do. The third letter for today was Dal, Dal, which makes the, zoo, right? The, zoo, without any vibration, without any buzzing, just like very soft, very light sound. The, zoo. Like even though there is like little vibration, right? This buzzing sound is very like, light. It's not that prominent. Unlike, this alphabet here. Okay, that is the difference between these two alphabets as well. The first is dal here, which is very soft. Articulation point is totally different than the next the letter, right? The first one here is kind of soft, right? And the second one here has this very prominent buzzing sound in it. Okay, the first one here was dal, dal. Okay, the middle letter here is ra, ra. And the next letter is the letter here. So this letter here is the letter. We have an alternative of this in English, which is letter Z. Z with this buzzing, right? Example which is given here is of the word zoo. Zoo. Okay. In Arabic, we say this word like zuyina. Zuyina. At the start, we have this the letter. The. Okay, so just like the raw letter has this quality of like slight rolling sound at the start, this the letter, I have told you that this has this buzzing sound, very prominent buzzing sound. So we are supposed to make that intentionally. Okay, we say the at the start. We are supposed to make the sound, right? With strength, with like consciously we're supposed to do this. Okay, moving on to the next three letters for today. This letter here is seen letter, which has the similar sound like S of English. S, seen letter. What, the quality of this letter is that this has a whistle sound in it. Whistle sound plus, the air is pushed out of our mouth. S, like air removes from our between our teeth. We push some air, and also there is this whistle, so we make sound. S. When there is something spicy, we make the sound, right? S. So that is the same sound. Example from English can be of like the spicy sound as well, spicy, right? And soup or sip. Sip is actually, making a good voice. C sound at the start. Sip, sip or soup. Okay. Or in Arabic, we have this example of word sa'ala. Sa'ala. You can hear the prominent, whistle sound and air in this word here, which is yasma'a. Yasma'u here, rather. Yasma'u. Yasma'u. The first one was sa'ala. The next one here is yasma'u. Okay, you can hear yes, yes. I'm intentionally, pushing some air. Yasma'u. Okay. The next letter for today is sheen letter, and I told you the sound of it is like SH of English. The example here is of shoe, shoe, right? Shoe. Let's take an example from Arabic as well, which is of this word here, Ash-shamsu. You can hear the ash, the sh sound here. Ash-shamsu. Ash-shamsu. Okay, so the next example is of this word shajaratun. Sh, shajaratun. Okay, ash-shamsu, shajaratun, or shu. Okay, so the last alphabet for today is this Ya alphabet. I told you, just is like the Y of English, right? So we have example of this English word yellow, yellow or yard, right? So this is the same voice. In Arabic, we say ya'mal, ya'mal, right? Ya letter, ya'mal. And I told you that you are like supposed to avoid making this kind of sound in this alphabet. Okay, so the ch, sh, y, j, this sound should not be like this. Rather, this is y sound, y, like yellow. I told you, right? Yellow does not have any ch, this kind of sound at the start. Okay, you're not supposed to make that kind of sound. You're not supposed to make your teeth come closer to say ya, but rather for this letter, the middle portion of our tongue is raised towards the palate. Okay, the middle part of your tongue is raised towards your palate. That is how you say this letter, rather than making your teeth come closer, like the upper and lower teeth. Right? You're not supposed to make this like that. Okay. So the example I gave you first of ya'mal, and then we have this like iyaka, iyaka. So, let me just separate all the letters of this word for you, right? Because you are not familiar with the way Arabic is written for now, right? So the first letter here is like Hamza. I told you, this is the way we write Hamza. This is not Alif at the start. And then we have a Ya letter, which is here with two dots below it. Okay, this is ya. I'm just writing this word here. Okay, we have this ya. These two dots are of these two, these two dots here. Okay, we write ya like this when we join this. So this is ya, and then we have alif with it. We have joined alif with it, and then we have another alphabet, which is the kaf alphabet. So we will say this word like iyaka, ya sound here. Iyaka. Okay, so these are the 8 alphabets for today, sisters. Let me just quickly say their sounds one more time, even though I know that you're already familiar with the sounds. So the first alphabet for today was Jeem, which makes like sound ja, ji, ju, right? Jeem. The second one is Dal letter, right, which makes a sound like da, da, di, do, da, di, do, right? The third one for today is Zal, Zal. Take the tip of your tongue, touch that with the tip of, or you can say the edges of your upper front two teeth, okay? And that is how you will say the, Zal, the, zu. The fourth one was raw letter, raw, which makes sound like raw, ri, ru, raw, ri, ru. The fifth one for today was the, which has this buzzing sound very prominent in this. You make this intentionally and you say the, zoo, right? Let's do the third one more time. The third letter was the, zoo, light, soft. The, zoo. The fifth one was the, the, zoo. Okay. Moving on to the sixth one for today, which is seen, seen, which makes the sound like sa, si, su, which has this whistle sound as well. And yes, the air comes out of your mouth as well when you say sa, si, su. The sixth one for today is sheen letter with three dots on top of it, sheen, which makes a sound like sha, she, shoo, sha, she, shoo, right? The air, spreads in your mouth when you say sheen letter, right? It just spreads all around. And you make the sha, she, shoo. And the last one for today is ya letter, which makes sound like ya, ye, you, right? So these are the letters for today, sisters. Is there any query you would like to ask? Or we can just, end the session, inshallah, then. Okay, we have a chat here. Yes, sister, why not? Sure. Okay, so what happens is that, inshallah, we will cover the differences of these letters in a separate session, right? Sisters become curious at the start as well. I understand very well. Uh, yeah, I understand very well. That is why I told you the difference of Hamza and Alif as well. We have a session that is coming after we will cover all these alphabets, which will talk about the differences of the similar sounding letters. Okay, but for now, I can tell you again. Let me just write this again, which is this dal and this za. First of all, the prominent difference is in the way they are written as well. The first one is a curved one. The second one, it is a bit straight one. The difference, sister, is in their articulation, first of all. How the difference is in the articulation? Because the za letter, it does not have any, alternative sound in English, right? The first of all. The second one, it does have a sound which is like the Z of English, okay? The Z alphabet. How their articulation is different? For the first za letter, you take the tip of your tongue, right? You take the tip of your tongue and you are touching that to the edges of your upper front two teeth, right? Just take your tip and you touch that to your upper front two teeth, right? And you make the, just the way you said the alphabet, right? The alphabet. This zal comes from like kind of same position. Okay? Sa, zal. Both of these are soft alphabets. They don't have any this whistle or this buzzing sound much in there, right? So this is a soft alphabet. Okay, so let's see how we articulate this next the letter. Okay, so our tip of the tongue, it is actually touching the like the back part of our upper as well as lower front two teeth, right? When you say the Z letter, where do we touch the tip of our tongue? That is actually touching the area, between the upper and front two teeth, right? Upper and lower front two teeth, and you touch that like kind of behind portion of that, right? We have our upper teeth and then we have our lower teeth. Okay, I'm just drawing them from the side. Okay, and the tongue is there like this, right? So the tongue is from there. But for this dal alphabet, what we do is that we touch the tip here, and for this one it is like in the middle, right? It is not touching any area. So this is like kind of a very kind of very prominent, very clear, with a buzzing sound, very kind of what do I say this, this is very hard, I can say. It is not a proper word. I'm just unable to recall any word proper for it, which is like very uh, this is like a soft sound, and this is very, you can say, I'm just going to say this hard sound, right? This is very buzzing sound, very proper prominent sound, like the like when we say zip, right? The zip. And for this, when we say the dal, I just gave you the example of this word here, which is dhahaba, dhahaba. This is the, this is the. Okay, so I will inshallah, come up with the more points in the next session that will cover these alphabets. Okay, so that you understand the voices a bit more clearly, inshallah. Are you able to understand even a little? That would be, good, inshallah. Okay, well, yeah, okay, sister. Is there any query of any other sister? They can, ask me, and then we can, inshallah, end the session for today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your efforts and make you read and understand Quran as well, inshallah, and make it a way for you to inshallah enter Jannah as well, inshallah. So ending the session with this dua, that subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. And also don't forget to send me your homeworks, inshallah, and I will give you feedback about that. With this, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.